about it right now. We are AT&T. I'm Cordy with Cowboys Nation.
What is up? Hey, welcome to another edition of Tag Nation. Your boy Mike Tag in the Cowboys cave, of course. Had a great weekend. Football kind of started, so we definitely got plenty to talk about. So before we get rolling, Jimmy, let's just, hey, subscribe, like, share. You see the number on the bottom. We're going to be accepting calls in a little bit, so definitely be part of the show. That's what we want. So without any further ado, Jimmy D, what's happening?
Now, you see, I thought about this because you got the Cowboys cave, and I realized I got my kids took over my basement room cave. That's why I wish I could move out to the other room where all the stuff is. But hey, at least I got a little something, I can.
I was just gonna say, let's give the man some love. He's showing a little Falcon pride. They won a big game.
Yeah. Well, we won 7-7 in real time, when the starters were in. But,
you guys lost it to what? Who'd you play? Detroit?
Detroit, yeah.
Yeah. You guys were winning though for a while, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or did you win?
Well, no, we won. It was 27.
Oh, okay. That's what I
27 something. Look at all I know is that it's the most running from any quarterback that I've seen on the Falcons since Vic. So that's been a long time. And it was very different. You're used to Matty Ice, and he's very much a pocket guy, and he's not going to stretch the plays out. And I'm in no means comparing Matty Ice with or should I say comparing Mariota or Ritter with Matty Ice, but it was very different. It was fun.
Let's show some love to my man Seaback. I got to get out to California one of these years. He's invited me out there for training camp. I got to make it happen. But,
where in Cali does he live?
I got to be close to where the Cowboys training camp is.
So, where is that? I don't know where that is.
L.A., just north of L.A., Oxnard.
Oxnard. Yeah. You got to go down to Santa Monica, man. It's fun down there. I love it.
Yeah, I've been there. I just hate the flight. It's that 5-hour, and then the 3-hour time change and all of that. But I got to get it going. But football is back, and I did a show. I did a show on Sunday after the Cowboys game. There he goes. He's in El Segundo. So that's not. I don't know if that's far or not, man. I don't live in California. So it sounds like it's close, but no, I did a show. We had a preseason game, and it was a little bit different, maybe for what you guys are doing. So your take on it is we didn't play, unless you didn't. We didn't play anybody. None of them. I mean, we had 20 guys that were out. I mean, we had starters and some backups out. So, but it gives you an opportunity to look at the young guys. So did you guys, I didn't get a chance to watch much of your game. Did you guys take that philosophy, or it looked like Mariota played a little bit? I know your rookie played most of the
Yeah, Ritter, he looked good. Ritter ran really well. Passing, he was like 10 of 22 passing. Mariota looked good, both passing and running. Of course, our first round draft pick wide receiver Drake London gets hurt. Now he's out for like at least a week with a knee injury.
Oh, really?
Allison looked good at running back. He played, but we look pretty good. But again, you guys sat a lot of people, which was a smart move. But at least we based on our new offense, like we're an entirely new offense, we had to play some of the starters.
Yeah,
there was no choice.
So when you look at that, we saw Malik Willis had a good game. Yeah. We saw the kid from Pittsburgh, Pickett from Pitt. He had a good game. So if you're a team, probably Tennessee's not going to be the one. Tannehill's going to start. I mean, they're a playoff team, obviously. He's their future, but for a team like Atlanta, or you get a team like with Pittsburgh, who's kind of figuring things out. Do you go with the young guy if he's starting to show a little promise in preseason? You just say, you know what, let's try and get the upside. We know what Mariota is; his ceiling is there. He's probably reached it. Or do you just try and go with the veteran and see what happens?
Well, and it's like Seaback is saying, Ritter, if he can get his, like I said, his passing wasn't terrible. Right. It wasn't like he was so far off point that you're shaking your head. But if he outplays Mariota, which may happen, then I'd be okay with starting him. But again, you see the setup. You see Mariota barely playing the first quarter and Ritter playing most of the rest of the game. So that's the setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to keep Mariota healthy.
Yeah, and also his comment, Will Grier, I was disappointed that he didn't get to play. He had a little groin injury, so they kind of took him out. But we'll see what happens. I might have a caller. Jimmy, start talking a little bit.
Yeah. So anyway, I was happy to see things start out pretty well for us, and again, it was just funny seeing us having a quarterback running around in the backfield, two of them stretching plays out, and Mariota though decided he's going to go.
Let me see, Jimmy. Oh,
there,
what's going on there? I like that.
Well, sounds like somebody's having a little fun.
Someone must have been excited that the Falcons won a football game.
Hey, I'm okay with that. That's maybe it was the running quarterbacks that got them all excited.
Oh, that shit's funny. That reminded me of one of the calls we did back in the day. But yeah. So
well, either that or what the other thing it could be. We're just really exciting, and the guy was just taking care of business while he was watching us. One of the
how that shit goes.
Right,
so,
exactly.
but yes, I'm hoping that Grier gets the spot to be a backup. I think he's got more upside than Cooper Rush. I think Cooper Rush, he just. But like I said on Sunday, if Dak goes down, it's pretty much you're pretty much over. You're pretty much over. So you definitely got to get something going on. I think we got a caller here.
Voicemail, press 2.
Let's hear it. What do we got? What's up, my man?
Well, boys, how in the hell are you?
Oh, whoa.
Wait a minute, we got royalty.
We got a special. Jerry Jones, is he making an appearance on Tag Nation?
Hey, I had to call in. It's a nice 70 degrees out here in Oxnard, California, and I'm just I'm enjoying some football being back, and I had to call in into the show to see how you guys are feeling about this preseason. I kind of feel like preseason football is a little like non-alcoholic beer. It gives you a taste of what you love, but then you remember you're not really getting the full effect of what you really want to hear.
Wow, man. I feel it. Hey, I gotta ask you, Mr. Jones, because I watched the game, Saturday night, and I'm seeing some things that are reminiscent of last season, and it's all those penalties. And my man Mike McCarthy said they were going to lock this down, and I'm just wondering, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like the team it looked a little sloppy. I will say that. Looked about as sloppy as an 18-year-old getting drunk off some MD 2020. But we're going to ride this ship. I have faith in Mike that he will get this ship righted. We've got a lot of new players and new faces. Didn't really start a whole bunch of our regulars that you'll see here in the next week or two as we start to gear up towards the regular season. But Mike is well aware of the expectations we have here in Dallas, and that's to do big things this year. And we can't do that when we're getting flags thrown on us left and right. These referees we got a target on our back already. We don't need it anymore with sloppy plays here. So Mike's going to get that thing cleaned up for us now.
No doubt about it.
Hey, Mr. Jones, Jimmy D here. I got a question for you because you're talking about taking penalties and maybe some disciplinary issues. What do you think about Terrence Steele starting a big brawl in practice against the Broncos last week in an intra-squad practice?
Well, see, now I like to have a little bit of dog in my players. And whenever a guy's got an ugly streak to him, especially on that offensive line, you really love to see it. You love to see stuff like that. Now, you don't want your players to get ejected from the game or get fined by any means, but you kind of have some dog in you when you're playing on that offensive line, and we need some dogs on this team.
No, I agree with it. Probably the most important thing, Mr. Jones, is, what do we got? We're opening night is very close. It's a Sunday night game, September 11th. Your boy's going to be there. I'm going to be with my man, Kelly K9. We're going to wreck this shop up and we're going to turn AT&T upside down. So I want to know, Do you got security ready? Because it's going to blow up. Are you prepared for what's going to happen when Mike Tagg and Kelly K9 come knocking on AT&T's door?
Well, now I have called the head of security because I've heard rumblings of this dynamic duo down there at AT&T Stadium. So I have called the head of security there. At Jerry's world, as everybody refers to it. It's my world, and everybody's living in it. But I've got the security amped up. We're going to be all hands on deck when you boys roll into town, and we're going to roll out the welcome mat now. And y'all are welcome up in the suite if you guys want to come up there for a little bit and hang out and watch what we do to Tom Brady and the Bucs come 9/11.
Oh yeah, we're gonna send that. We're gonna send him packing. I don't know if you've seen it, Mr. Jones, but he's already prepared for the excuses. He took a 10-day personal reasons absence from training camp because he knows what's going to happen. So they've already got a built-in the excuses. You know, that way when we slap him around, he's gonna say, "Well, he had some time off, a little bit of rush." You know how that goes.
Well, as long as he is not bringing a video camera a week before to videotape practices, and as long as the balls are properly inflated, I think we're going to be all right. You know, he's always looking for that competitive edge. Some people call it cheating. I just like to call it Tom Brady.
Well, you know, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So they say. I live by that sometimes.
That's a mighty fine philosophy to live by.
Well, Mr. Jones, it's an esteemed honor to have you coming in Tag Nation, coming in the Cowboys cave and paying us a visit and dropping a little knowledge for us. And I can't wait to get to AT&T come September 11th for sure.
Well, thank you, boys, for taking my call and letting me shoot the shit with you boys on this mighty fine show here. Y'all have a hell of an evening. All
right, brother. Take care, man.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Jay, this is the type of content you get. You're talking about the owner of the Cowboys. He's riding around. He's probably chilling. Maybe he's on his jet. I don't know what he's doing. We got another call. I think we got another call. Jimmy, take it over.
Hey, man, and I appreciate you taking the time, Mr. Jones. You know, especially showing your boys some love over here. And who do we got next, Mike? Who's on? Most importantly, make sure you got security going October 30th.
My name is Walter Hartwell White.
You got a bad connection, my man. We lost him. It's
a guy saying
bad connection.
He's probably got one of those track phones or something.
Yeah, he's got it. Well, he's got. Now I heard him. He was calling in, but it just he probably got one of those pay by the minute phones or something. I don't know. But really, to get Mr. Jones on here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and we got into it with Tom Brady, and I wanted to get your opinion. So you're talking about the quarterback. He's got to take a 10-day personal leave. He's a veteran, so obviously he's probably earned that. I don't think he'll skip a beat on, but it does seem like maybe something going on in Tampa Bay. I don't know.
I don't think he left the money on the dresser and he went to practice in the morning is the problem. There's a little bit of TMZ going on with him and his old lady. But but 10 days and all of a sudden they're saying it was anticipated. Who's going to let anybody, I don't care if it's Tom Brady, whoever else, in the middle of preseason take 10 games off, even if it's just take reps in practice? That just something doesn't seem right to me. And I have a suspicion he's dealing with stuff at home and they're running cover for him. Maybe they're just afraid.
That's maybe one thing, maybe letting that seatbelt hold you back, But no. Hey, all I got to say is the Cowboys penalties, we touched on it, a little concerning. 17 penalties. I don't care if it's a preseason game. I don't care if it's their backups. I don't care what it is. That has got to get fixed. Now, I will say, watching the game, I don't know, Jimmy, if you paid much attention to it, some of the penalties, a little ticky-tack. I know that they're doing illegal contact as one of those things that they're putting an emphasis on. But there was two roughing the passer penalties that were absolutely, in my opinion, ridiculous. But it's the football world that we live in. It's the day and age of that. They were clean hits. They didn't hit him in the head. They went right to the stomach, drove him down. I mean, you can't help if you fall on them or not or whatever it is. It's an aggressive game, but one of them was out of the pocket. So I mean, I don't know. It's a little disturbing, those kind of penalties. But what I can't stand are the self-inflicted wounds, those pre-snap penalties. Would it be? We had an offsides that was a 3rd and long that we stopped them. They would have punted. It turned it into 3rd and a little shorter. They get the first down. They go down and score. So those are the kind of penalties that you just can't. I can't stand. It's those pre-snap penalties.
But those are the ones that get cleaned up during the course of the preseason. That should be fine. Come.
They're the most penalized team.
Yeah, but still,
that's penalties in the playoffs.
It's preseason. That'll work itself out. Now, I'm hearing what you're saying, but my thing is, and we were talking about this last week, that they're going to start calling more penalties. They're going to start calling more touch penalties, illegal penalties. It's ridiculous, and we don't need to start, adding just more BS to this where you can't touch the quarterback. You can't touch a receiver. You can't do anything. You may as well play flag football.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things that we got to clean. The one thing that we do got to do, Jimmy, because I'm thinking about, we got to get a damn board op because I was trying to get calls. I'm trying to do this. I'm controlling the instrumentations, if you will. I'm controlling the screens, and then I'm grabbing the phone. So I might have to get Eva. Maybe I have to get her on the payroll and start taking these calls. Because I've missed a few, and I do apologize. But if I'm talking and I'm trying to get things going, it's hard to do two things at once.
You're doing a fine job, and again, we apologize. Mr. Producer Dominic is furloughed for a little bit because, of course, his practices had to land on Monday nights of all night. I mean, it's a very important night. You shouldn't be having practice during our show.
I want to talk to that coach. How about we talk to the coach? Maybe you and I go down there and have a few words with him, and we'll see what happens. So.
I say we have Mr. Jones give him a call. Maybe we can ask him to do that, man. That was pretty cool. He called in.
Hey, he's got the stroke, so we might have to lean on him next time when he calls in and see if he can do us a solid, because we do need to get that board up in there. One thing that I found interesting, because I know there's a lot of trade talk and a lot of draft talk and all that kind of stuff, and everyone's analyzing that rush to judgment on their picks. So I saw Philadelphia traded their 2019 second-round pick, Mr. Whiteside, to Seattle for some, cornerback I never heard of. This was basically their second-round pick, right? You expect to hit some gold. You expect to make something out of your second-round pick, and he did nothing this whole time there. So it just goes to show it's another example of you don't know what you're going to get until the season starts, until you see something happening. And so, again, it leads me to the Cowboys draft picks. So we had our young receivers out there, and they got some work in. Quarterback did them no favors. I'll say that. Quarterback did him no favors. Tolbert had an opportunity to come up with a big third down play. I mean, he didn't come up with it, but I'm not worried about it. I think he'll be fine. We had some other young guys that Sammy caught a touchdown late in the game. I got to get out my notes because the depth chart gets so deep. Yeah, Dennis Houston, he made a couple good plays, but you laugh about it. These are guys that we need to make an impact. We need them to contribute immediately. So that's what I want to see from them next week, is hopefully Greer will be there. I don't know if Dak's going to play the second preseason game. I kind of hope he takes a series or two in there, because I do think they're doing those controlled scrimmages, and that was one of their thoughts on the Broncos. And now they've got another one coming up with the Chargers. So I'm not sure the deal there, but hopefully they move that.
No, and I think you're right. There has to be some timing in a real game, because those controlled scrimmages and controlled practices are just that. They're controlled, and they're a little too controlled because Dak knows he isn't going to get hit hard, or he isn't going to be running for his life. So I think any team should have their quarterback start in at least a few series in these games.
I'm hearing a background. You hear me all right, Jimmy?
I hear you just fine. You sound
right. Maybe it's these headphones. I don't know. But they're again with the one bright spot that I saw, at least for the Cowboys, was in the running game. And it wasn't necessarily that Zeke or Pollard played, but it was that we ran the ball effectively. And Tyler Smith, he had He had one, holding I thought was BS. I mean, I don't get it. The other one, maybe his hands were a little wide and he held on just a second too long or whatever. But I think that'll hopefully be something that they clean up. But I mean, he had some bright moments too, and he was moving some people. I didn't see us getting pushed back so much until our backups came in. Josh Ball and I think that's his name. Yeah, hopefully that's his name. Yeah, the tackle. They better find somebody else because he got embarrassed out there. And if he's our swing tackle, we might be in some trouble because Tyron Smith is typically not going to play a whole ton. He's going to miss a few games here and there. So.
Well, and you take somebody like the Falcons, and we have Patterson, who is hoping. I'm thinking he's going to be like that Deebo Samuel type setup. But like I said, Allison ran really well the other night. So I was really happy to see that because that's, and again, that was more into the second quarter, deeper in the second quarter and into the third quarter. But still, you still want to see that. He's hungry, look good.
Yeah. But I tell you, the fantasy football, we'll give a fantasy football tip of the day. The one rookie that I don't know if you saw, you've seen some of his highlights in training camp. He made a couple, acrobatic catches, and he had a few things as George Pickens. And I know he came in, he dropped in the draft a little bit because of maybe some questionable things. I have no idea. I mean, he looks like the real deal. And I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do at quarterback. Obviously, they got Pickett, and I don't know what they're going to do with Trubisky. I don't know how all that's going to shake out. But if they got a quarterback who's going to get him the ball, at least in the area, that dude's he's about as good of a rookie as I've seen in a little while starting out. I know it's still early, but he's looking good for varsity training camp in the first part of preseason.
I'll tell you, speaking of, last week we were talking about Carson Wentz couldn't hit the side of an 18-wheeler. All of a sudden, he goes out, looks like God the other day. And what happened there?
Well, the only thing I want Carson Wentz to do is week 4, and then week 3, Washington plays the Eagles. And I just want him to just embarrass them because that'll basically – he can set them up and we'll finish them off because I tell you what, I don't care what anyone says. If Philly loses to Carson Wentz in Washington – I don't know if they'll recover because I think that fan base will just go absolutely insane.
And you know what? We'll be laughing all day long.
Make no mistake about it.
Philadelphia.
So I don't know. One of the other things that I was thinking about, obviously, all the training camp. If you guys got any comments, definitely comment. Down below. We'll get you on. Definitely the numbers there. Hopefully we get through. We had some technical difficulties. We're gonna have to work through that. I told you it's all a work in progress. You just gotta hang with us. By the start of the season, all the stuff is worked out, and we're gonna be running like a well-oiled machine.
Absolutely.
But I saw, and it used to be a bigger deal, the top 100. I remember they used to make this big hoopla about it, and it was a weekly thing, and it was one of those that led you right up into the season.
Yeah.
And so I'll be honest with you, I must have missed it because they're already to the 50. They did their top 50. So a couple interesting ones, being a Cowboys fan like me, being a Falcon fan like you, I kind of cherry picked where they're at and get your opinion. Do you think that's, probably in the right spot where they're at? Do you think it's a little low, a little high? And then I had one that was interesting, and it goes to show what the league is. So you had CeeDee Lamb came in at 95, Tyron Smith came in at 92, Kyle Pitts came in at 91, Cordell Patterson came in at 73, and then you had Zach Martin, who was at all those others weren't ranked last year. So then you had Zach Martin, who was ranked 17th. Last season dropped down to 68.
It's you know what? I don't put much credence into that. I mean, first of all, as a Falcons fan, I'm not putting Cordell Patterson ahead of Kyle Pitts. I wouldn't do that personally, and not for nothing, but there's so many different top 100s anymore. There's all the NFL's got their own top 100. There's all these top 100s. So at the end of the day, I don't put much credence into that. But how they put Patterson ahead of Kyle Pitts, I don't know. But I don't know, man. My big thing is, we had injuries already. Like I said, Drake London from the Falcons, he's already missing games because of the knee. Zach Wilson from the Jets. Devontae Smith got hurt from Philadelphia. Lamar, actually, it was so many nagging injuries and other types of injuries have popped up as they always do in the preseason. And it gets back to what we were saying before about starting these different guys and how deep you let them go into the game.
Well, you did. I don't know if you touched on. I had a little technical issue I did fix real quick. Did you talk about Jalen Hurts got leveled late, and it was a dirty hit. Got leveled outside when he was running.
I didn't know. I didn't touch on that one yet. No.
Yeah, he got laid out on the sidelines, and that goes. I think you were kind of talking about who you play and what do you do and how do you get your starters in, and you don't want a season to end, on an injury and preseason and a meaningless game. So it's that fine line, and that's where with the Cowboys, you're sitting all these guys, but when the lights come on, are they going to be ready to go? Now, last season, they didn't win a preseason game. They really, Dak didn't play at all. His first game after that whole injury was against the Bucks, unless I'm mistaken, but I'm almost positive he didn't play at all. And most of their guys didn't. And then he comes out and throws for like 450 and 3 touchdowns. So I guess maybe with all the offseason work and this and that, maybe it's not as important. I don't know.
Well, at the end of the day, it gets back to, Marcus Mariota. He goes shoulder down against the middle linebacker on one play when he's running the ball. I'm like, what are you doing? And he could have just stepped a little bit out and he would have went out of bounds, right?
Yeah.
Instead, he goes low and gets, that could have been an easily a separated shoulder or something worse, and he was like, what are you thinking? And I get it. He's competitive. He wants to show, the Falcons fans that, he's all in, but that's not using your head.
No.
But
so it'll be interesting. What's up?
I want to get back to that top 100 we were talking about.
Sorry, I got distracted. I apologize. Yes. So the top 100. So I gave you that list. What do you think? Is that kind of where you think your two guys are? I know one's young, so that he's making a debut on the list. Cordell Patterson is kind of he's been pretty much your offense. So
I love Patterson. They interviewed, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent on this, but they interviewed him last week in one of the press conferences, right? Yeah. I got the satellite dish, so I got the feed. I was watching the press conference, and he's so passionate about like being in Atlanta. And he said, I don't care if it's 5 touches, 10 touches, 20 touches a game. As long as we're winning, I don't care. So I love him. I love his passion. I love the way he plays. But I don't see him ahead of Kyle Pitts, right? Yeah. And there's so many damn top 100 or top 50.
I know. Well, what I was going to say is what it shows. My one, so I gave you CeeDee Lamb, Tyron Smith, Kyle Pitts. At number 85 was Mac Jones, the quarterback for
yeah.
And he had a decent year. It wasn't terrible, but quarterbacks are held at such a high,
Yeah.
There's already been a ton of quarterbacks that are already on that list. So I'm curious to see, obviously for me, is where does Dak Prescott fall? I don't get into all of the stuff. It's fun to talk about. It's just like, my buddy texted me today and he said, hey, Stephen Smith's been out for a while, I guess. I don't listen to him. But what's the first thing he talked about? He talked about the Cowboys. And of course, they've made him rich. He's got a ticket that he does, and it's successful for him. So, God bless. That's how he's made money. So I don't get into all of the crap. That's why I tell people, honestly, and I mean it. If you're a sports fan, if you're a Cowboy, especially I'll speak more on the Cowboys fans, there are so many great content creators that bring you, hey, the good and bad. They're not going to sugarcoat anything, but you got Skywalker, you got Law Nation, you got J Tuck, you got Star Boys, you got all these content creators that are out there that bring in good content. And I'm sure for the Falcons, you probably got some that you watch, and you get more insight out of them and more real stuff than these yahoos on NFL Network. I like NFL Network, so I don't dog them too much. It's mainly ESPN, Fox with the stupid Shannon Sharp and the other bandwagon Cowboys fan is a moron. So, you don't get nothing. All they are for clickbait, and they get instant reaction. And that's why I say I stick with local radio, 105.3. I listen to them every morning when I'm driving into work, on Odyssey. And then I listen to local content creators. That's how I get my Cowboys info.
No, and I'm the same way. First of all, these guys like, Smith, who I can't stand, because he tries to jump on the Knicks bandwagon all of a sudden, a year before last. You get guys like that who just say crazy things just to get you to tune in to the channel, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's all shock value. Half of them don't know what they're talking about. They don't know specifics. Like you said, content creators. To me, every day I got, I subscribe to the Falcons YouTube channel. So I just want to see what the guys have to say. I just want to see what, the players, the coaches and all that, and see some of the plays that happen. Like you said, jump on social media and check out some of the other guys. But, you get people who follow the team on a regular basis who aren't looking just for the, ratings and stuff. You're going to get better content out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And one other thing I forgot to talk about, we'll wrap it up on preseason, is, Zach Wilson. I mean, that was another example, quarterback getting hurt, knee injury. My son texted me when it happened. And he, like, oh, it was not a contact, injury. So the first thing you think of is, he's done ACL something.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I guess as a meniscus, slight tear, they scope it out. It's going to be 2 to 4 weeks. But still, he's a young quarterback that's trying to get to that next level. And, you miss that, you missed 4 weeks. That's a lot, that hurts a team. That's a young team. That's one of those teams that we talked about, on shows previous, the ones you kind of watch out for that, you want to play them in September, but you sure the hell don't want to play them in December because they're a team that they're young and maybe they're getting better as the year gets going, and they're a team that has nothing to lose.
And, you being a Jets fan, I'm hearing them already crying over here. You hear the whole damn neighborhood screaming and yelling, when that happened. But, it's tough, though, because, it's that fine line. You want the reps. But now they're screwed because, again, that timing, if he's not playing, it's that timing. Now there's no timing in practice. No. It's going to be live game, timing and getting back in the rhythm. You see Lamar Jackson said, if I don't get a contract by week 1, then we're waiting till the end of the season.
Well, a lot of players do that, right? A lot of players they'll say they're going to cut down the contract talks. They're going to stop negotiations until the end of the season. I don't know. I think sometimes those are threats, right? I mean, if they offer him a deal, I think you'd be foolish not to jump on it. I mean, especially being an NFL football player, and his life is his legs. If his legs go, I mean, he's done. And that's the thing. There was a former player got in a lot of trouble. I think he played with the Ravens, I think, and he was talking about Lamar Jackson, and he had him as, he's a top 10 football player. I think he's a top 10 football player. I don't know. I'm not going to put him as a top 10 quarterback. And I know they say, why? Because if he doesn't have the legs are his weapon. He's just so, he can do so many different things. But if the legs go, he's not like Michael Vick, who had an arm and accuracy. Michael Vick wasn't the most accurate, but he did have strong arm and he was more accurate than Lamar Jackson. Or Steve Young. Steve Young, you remember when he was with the Bucs and early on with the Niners, that's all he did was run. I mean, he ran all over the place. And but then when he couldn't run as much, then he did have the arm to do it. So that's the only concern that I would have with the Ravens is if you sign him to a monster deal, I mean, you're really banking, because I don't think accuracy is something that you get a little bit better, but I don't think you're going to go from, you're going to gain 10% accuracy, in a couple of years. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a quarterback. So tell me.
I don't think it's happening.
And that'd be fine. But I just don't think it's going to happen. So if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm probably, if they offer me a sweet deal that puts me in the top 5 paid quarterbacks in the NFL, man, you give me that pen and paper, man, I'm signing that. You can't sign it fast enough.
Yeah, I know. And it's crazy. You look at, and I'm stepping off of football and into baseball real quick. The Yankees with Aaron Judge. There was $3 million setting the two apart, right? And, first of all, you're never spending that kind of money in your lifetime, right?
Yeah.
But hey, if I can get as much coin as I can, then I'm gonna. So what do the Yankees do? They screw around. They only get him for a 1-year deal. They still end up stretching it closer to what Judge wanted in the first place, instead of signing him for 4 or 5 seasons and giving him the damn 21, 22, whatever it was, $1 million a year. Just pay him, right? But baseball's a different ball game, right?
No,
Lamar Jackson, you sign him to a big fat and you get guaranteed money and he's hurt. You're screwed.
Well, it can set your franchise back, and that's kind of what we talked about with, we didn't touch on it, but since we're talking quarterbacks, is Sean Watson. So he had his debut.
Yeah.
I think it was 1 of 6. NFL, is appealing the 6 games. They'll probably bump it up some. They're looking for a full year. I think that's what everyone thought. So either he gets a full year, or the NFL is fine either way, because NFL can say, you know what, we didn't agree with the 6 game. We lost, even though Goodell's, I think he's the one who can overturn it. But if he were to have gotten suspended for 2 years or whatever, I mean that cripples a franchise.
Yeah.
And then he's 2 years off, 3 years off. You already see he's had one year off, and he looked, it didn't look the best. Granted, the first preseason game, I think he'll be fine, but it's just one of those things where you just don't know.
So the question is, when are they signing Jimmy G?
Well, that was going to be the next thing. So Jimmy G is out, and it's just the oddest thing. He's out in San Francisco, and my man might have had it right here. You got the
yes.
Except it's Watson. So I don't know, Rager Tolbert. I don't know what he means by that. I'm not sure, but anyway, Jimmy G. Trey Lance has looked good, right? So they said he's looked good in training camp, his first preseason game. He looked good. Again, it's preseason. You don't know, everything's vanilla. They're not game planning against you, but they've given up on him. So it's who's going to go after him? And I mean, he wins, right?
He wins. Yes.
He's been to an NFC Championship game. There's a lot of teams. Me being one that would love to get to that Super Bowl and get to a championship game, sooner than later. That's for damn sure. But you thought maybe with the Jets, if that injury was significant, they wouldn't go with Flacco. That Jimmy G might have been one. That the other team I'm hearing a little bit of is maybe the Giants seem to be falling out of love with Daniel Jones. Could that be a spot? I don't.
I was surprised because again, 3 weeks ago was the Falcons. 2 weeks ago was the Giants. Last week it was God knows who. And now, there's perfect landing spots for this guy. And nobody's taking him. And he can't be a number 2 quarterback. I don't know.
No. Well, that whole situation, it was almost like with Baker Mayfield, right? So, you get Watson and you tell it, you're basically anointing him the starter. So you're making it, that's so there's no looking back. You can't leave him in there. You can't leave Mayfield on the team. That's a total distraction. And Jimmy G's doing all the right things. He's saying all the right things. And like my man Ultra Cowboy said, they better be right.
Yeah.
Because the locker room will turn. Jimmy G is loved with his teammates.
Yes.
And that's going to be, if it don't work out, there's going to be a lot of problems in San Francisco.
Well, how I feel about Shanahan. Personally, I don't like him. But Jimmy G, it's not his spot. It's not his dog spot. It's not a liver spot. It's Trey Lance's spot. And he's going to be out of there just like the Falcons did with Matty Ice. He's not going to feel comfortable there anyway. No matter, let's say, I hope it doesn't happen, but let's say Lance goes down and gets hurt. You really think Jimmy G's going to be like, he's going to be pissed. He's going to feel.
But I think his personality, just from what I've seen, I think he'd play. But I think what they're waiting to see, this is what they're waiting to see. And they almost got lucky, for them. I don't want to ever see any player get hurt, but they're looking for a quarterback to go down because, if it doesn't, then they're going to get nothing for Jimmy G. But if a top quarterback were to go down, I'm not talking about a team, a non-playoff team. I'm talking about a team that can contend, that's ready to win now, and their starter goes down. There's going to be a premium to get Jimmy, because especially if you look at the backups and you look at what these teams have at backup, it's just, it's like I said, God forbid that goes down, the season's pretty much over, and I think that's the case for 95% of the contenders that are out there. I don't know one that has a backup, except for probably obviously San Francisco. If they kept them and they were happy, that would be the only one.
Yeah, and it's funny, you take a team like us. Look, we don't even know what to expect. I know both my guys are going to run the offense the same way. we're in this transitionary. I don't even want to say rebuilding. I want to say transitionary year. So for us, let's say Mariota went down. I don't want them signing Jimmy G. It wouldn't make sense because he couldn't run the offense the way we're right. We're
but you got a
young
quarterback. That's what I would put it in.
We got a young quarterback.
Yeah, but, yeah. Let's I know you may not want to hear this, but you guys aren't. Unless a miracle. Now things can happen, but I don't see you guys getting, going to the Super Bowl. I think you guys
shut your mouth.
No, you don't want to hear it.
We're wise to you.
But I would go with the younger guy. It's that conversation we had earlier. You got a rookie. If he shows some promise, hey, the upside on him is here. Yes. What you got with Mariota, you pretty much know what you got. I mean, he's been in the league long enough. You pretty much know what you got. But if the rookie quarterback, blows up, man, look what you got. You got a franchise quarterback in the third round.
So Chris Chandler back, and now we're rewinding back in the day. So he takes us to the Super Bowl, right? Then game one of the first year, I think it was against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Jamal Anderson blows his knee out. He's out the season. Terrible year. We get Vic.
Yeah.
The subsequent draft. And before you knew it, it was just Vic was starting. Dan Reeves said, we're just going youth, and that was it. But they were two different quarterbacks again. Age, style. It was just a completely different animal.
Yeah, and I think your team was better. I think you guys had some pieces there. But no, I would not, Ultra Cowboy, you kind of, I didn't want to say that because I don't want to ever jinx myself, but that's a scenario that I was saying is, hey, you look at our team, we'd have to go get a quarterback, and we're built. If you watch, you kind of see we're doing it. It's really we're taking a turn. If there's one thing that I probably give the Niners credit for in that playoff game, is they made it very apparent that we need to get tougher and we need to get moving on defense. And our defense is getting stronger. You saw, I know it's a preseason game and it was backups, but our defensive tackles were pushing now. Now they're pushing more. We're stopping the run. We're getting back in the quarterback. And our secondary, I think it's let me get my notes. Get my notes. Number 30, Aaron Bland. A late round draft pick. He looked like, that's what you're looking for. Who's going to step up? We've talked about it, Jimmy, right? You and I have talked about it. You forget the first and second round picks, the third round pick. Look at your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Look at those later picks. Which one of those are going to step up and be a contributor to the team? Because that's how your championship teams are made.
Heart. That's where heart comes in. Who's got the passion? Who's got the heart? I did want to say one thing about Ultra Cowboy. I hope he's not Eddie mushing you.
No,
put him in the bathroom.
He better not. I'll hold him personally responsible. God forbid something happens to my quarterback.
But no, but that's the thing. That's where you see the guy who really wants it. Whether it's somebody feels disrespected that they got drafted so late or whatever. Those are the guys you want to see. Those are the guys who are Mr. Jones alluded to it earlier before when he was you want the guys in the trenches. You want the guys who are hungry dogs.
Yeah, I still can't believe Mr. Jerry Jones called in on the show.
Pretty cool.
That's
awesome, man.
It shows the impact that we have, and I agree again with Cowboys bringing some great stuff. Tyler Smith, we talked about it earlier. I thought he had a solid game. He had a couple penalties that we don't want to see. One of them was terrible. The other one, like I said, maybe his hands got out, whatever. But I think they were a little ticky-tack. But he was moving people. We're running the ball. So hopefully we kind of get back to that smash mouth, football. And I tell you, preseason, I don't know how much you like it. As I've gotten older and I've gotten wiser, I've started to appreciate preseason. I actually watched the whole preseason game Saturday night. Either I have no life, I was tired. I don't know what it was. I love the Cowboys that much, but I watched the whole preseason game, and I really, it was interesting. I'm looking at these guys. I'm trying to figure out, okay, which guys, who's standing out, who's doing this, who's doing that. I wish our quarterback play was better. It would have made it. I would have liked to. I was really wanted to focus on our receivers because. It was like Babe. Remember old Babe Laufenberg? He's a play-by-play guy from the preseason. He handles the radio for the Cowboys. So he brought up a good point. Is you look at the receivers, and you have CeeDee Lamb, and you have Noah Brown. Those are the only receivers that have any catches, touch it, whatever any catches in the NFL. So when you're looking at Tolbert, you're looking at Simi, and you're looking at the other Houston. Two of these guys, because Gallup is out and Washington's out, two of these guys are going to be on the field. I mean, you pretty much you're running three wide sets. Now, the one thing that I did see is Jake Ferguson, the tight end. He looked really good. He made some good catches. So are the Cowboys going to maybe, run that two tight end set more, obviously with the running game? Are they going to put Pollard out at receiver a little bit more, give him more weapons? Because right now with the receivers, I'm not, I believe in Tolbert, but I'm just saying I've got to see something from them, because it's CD and everyone else. And if everyone else doesn't step up, CD is going to be doubled. And they're basically going to dare Dallas to beat them with someone else.
I see people smack talking in the comments over there, man.
What do we got?
People gonna call in? What are you guys, cowards? You won't call in and tell us
I didn't. I turned the. I can put the phone back on. I was having issues. I'll be honest with you, Jimmy. It was getting to be too much. Too much. When Jerry Jones called me, I lost all my thoughts. I was going crazy.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, we got to work that out. That's on me. I take full responsibility. I've got to figure out a plan to make it easier for us to take phone calls, because there's just too many moving parts, and I'm just not smart enough to do it. But my man, my Niners at 17 pounds, just the tip of the iceberg. So maybe it is. I don't know. I hope you're wrong. I mean, what can I say? I'd like to crack back at you. I'd like to say something to go, but I really don't have anything to say, because if that is the case, and if that's where we're going, then yeah, I mean, the season won't look good. You're not going to win with 17 penalties. And again, I understand, Adams at 1,500 yards, no wide receiver. But they didn't go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
We gotta have some diversity in our offense. I'm not a fan of the one-man show. I think you've gotta, you spread the ball. I'm all good for it. If they spread it out and get everyone involved, they're gonna have to do that. And that's what I was saying, is if these receivers can't step up, then you're going to be looking at two tight end sets. You're going to have to do something to where we got to move CD around. CD is a type of receiver that you got to get him all over the place. You want him in the slot, you want him outside. He's done a little bit of what Debo and Cordell. Cordell's now a full-time running back, I guess, but he was taking some of the backfield and doing stuff. So they've got to be able to utilize him all over the place, and they need other receivers to at least pose a threat. And like I said, I have all the faith in Tolbert. I'm not worried about it. I'd like to see Dak out there throwing to him in a preseason game.
And then we were talking about quarterbacks getting hit and all this other stuff. Do you see this thing? And I know we're going off topic a little bit. This thing with Brett Favre coming out, talking about he had thousands of concussions over his career. Did you see that?
I think he was on. I think this was on Bubba the Love Sponge, who's in Tampa. I don't know if you remember Bubba the Love Sponge.
Yeah, I remember.
Back in the day. Brett Favre. It's actually, if you're a Packers fan or a football fan, I watched Brett Favre play obviously his whole career in the 90s and stuff. It's actually a very good interview. He shares a lot of things about how everything went down with the Jets and with all that. It was actually with the Vikings. It was pretty good, but I think he might have said it on that show, because they talked for about over an hour. I don't know if he's at 1,000. I mean, some of the things he says and does, you'd probably figure he's had a few.
Yeah,
but if you really look at it, though, I'm telling you, in that game, in that game with that era that they played in, those quarterbacks took beatings. And I remember Favre. I mean, that Iron Man streak he had, he got annihilated sometimes.
Wasn't Warren Sapp who drilled him, and Favre threw a game-winning touchdown, said he didn't even remember it?
Probably.
Wasn't that fun? Yeah, I thought that was. It's but it's that fine line where, again, you touch a quarterback and there's a flag, but there's that fine line between that and just annihilating somebody. What's your middle ground, right?
Yeah,
so that's the problem. And this thing with the CT, it's funny. It was not funny, but I know you're not a big NHL guy, but this guy Jonathan Huberdeau, he's one of the best players in the NHL. He actually, ironically, a couple days ago said he's going to donate his brain to some institute to do research on CTEs and all this, concussion stuff. And, again, I just, when he said thousands of concussions, I don't know about that.
No, this man, Cowboy, he's definitely old school. He knows how that was. It was, but he's had a lot, but there's the headhunters, which a lot of those guys. I mean, you've seen, the one hit that always sticks with my head with Aikman was LeVar Arrington with the then Washington Redskins. I mean, just pretty much ended his career on that one hit where he just got blasted. Joe, if you ever watch that Joe Montana documentary it's like a 3 or 4 part series, the beatings that he took, I mean, that is a little excessive. I'll give you that. If just talking on the Cowboy game, you didn't see it, but the hits that they had on the quarterback, it was the quarterback was releasing the ball and Sam Williams hit him in the stomach, head to the side, everything textbook.
Yeah.
They just threw the flag, and he didn't even drive him down. He just kind of hit him, and they called a flag on him. Then you had it might have been, I don't know if it was Armstrong, it was another guy. He went in and he hit the quarterback, and he hit him, and they both fell to the ground, and he fell again on his stomach, shoulder, in his gut, and they called a roughing the passer on that too. So it's getting to the point to where what do? We put a flag on him. You pull the flag on a quarterback and the play is over. I don't know what they want to do, but it's a physical game. Again, no head hunting. We don't want any hits to the head. But, I mean, you've got to let some of these guys – you got to let the defense play. And I know they were high scoring. You got to let the defense play.
Well, and that's why I agree with Ultra Cowboy. Until, not too long ago, it was a real man sport. You got to – the quarterback is a football player. You got to allow hitting. Again, if he's going, dome down and you're drilling the guy, I don't want that, or helmet to helmet. But when you're doing, like you said, a textbook hit and they're going to throw a flag, and you're going to see a lot of it this year because, again, they said it 2 weeks ago. They're looking to up their flag throwing for contact penalties. So, and it's going to suck because that's what turns like you said, you said the Cowboys had a 3rd and long. That's, automatic 1st and 15 and – Well,
I know I can't remember if both did. One of them turned into a touchdown. I mean, they drive continued, scored a touchdown. And again, an Ultra Cowboy, 100%. That's why Brady played for. These quarterbacks are playing longer because of the rules, and that's probably what the NFL wants. I mean, Dan Marino, all the Aikman, all these guys in the 90s and 80s, they would have played to their 50. In this era. That's why I always tell people you can't compare the quarterback errors. You can't compare the numbers. You can't compare the stats. You can't, because the longevity, it changes. And what one guy would do in one era, Tom Brady didn't play until he's 45 in the 80s and 90s. He'd be dead. And that's just the way the game was. It's just like, I saw a comment with Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott is a Hall of Fame safety, right? He even started at cornerback. He wouldn't play in this league.
No, he couldn't.
Yeah, the league.
He'd be playing for the USFL or up in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way the game has evolved. And I understand these guys are bigger, faster, stronger. They're coming, it's like a Mack truck. I don't know if it was Michael Irvin or somebody. Yeah, I think it might have been with the Cowboys. They were talking about receivers and what does it feel like to get hit across the middle? And he said, take a bat and just full swing, hit someone when they're running at you. And that's what it feels like. And you do it over and over and over and over. That's, it's a collision, and it's a car wreck. And that's why you feel bad. You see some of these guys, with the CTE. I mean, shoot, look at Antonio Brown. You can't tell me, and I'm not trying to make fun of him. There ain't something ain't right.
Yeah.
I know he wants to go to the Cowboys. Please don't come to the Cowboys. Don't do it. Don't do it at any cost because he needs help. I mean, it's just it's gotten to a sad point with him because there's definitely something wrong.
Well, and he needs actual medical help, but I think he also needs, and I'm not even being a smart ass here, he needs mental health. His mental health needs to be addressed in addition to, whatever's going on upstairs. And it's really sad to see that, guy with such talent and plenty of talent. He's dropped, just screwed himself on the deal. I do want to, so I don't forget, credit to longtime setter Todd McClure on the Falcons put into a Ring of Honor this year. He got surprised. So that's a good thing. Be joining the likes of Dion and
got a little applause from a man.
Yep. So
now, what's his name again?
Todd McClure.
I don't know.
Time. Yep. So
where did he play? Now, what decade?
What's that?
What decade did he play?
Not too long ago, the 2000s.
Okay, so he's recent.
Yeah. So,
well, speaking of, when the hell's Jimmy Johnson going to get in the Ring of Honor? That's what I want to know.
He's not in your guys' Ring of Honor?
Huh?
He's not in your guys' ring? What?
No. Jerry Jones won't put him in. That's what we should have asked him on the
see, better step.
I mean, how the hell are you not going to put Jimmy Johnson? You know why? It's like I've said it before. I've said it on Twitter. I might even said it on the show. And then we'll get rolling because I know we're getting up against the clock. But Jerry Jones won't. If the Dallas Cowboys would have won a Super Bowl, let's say, can't count 95 because that was Jimmy Johnson. That was Jimmy Johnson's team. If he would have won a Super Bowl anytime after that, Jimmy Johnson would be in the Ring of Honor. Jerry Jones does not want Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor because they haven't won a Super Bowl since he's been gone. And they don't want – it's a constant reminder. It's a constant thing. And it's really sad because I think maybe you get him in the Ring of Honor where he belongs. Maybe some of this mojo, maybe some of this kind of this black cloud that sits over the Cowboys' heads every time it comes playoff time, maybe some of that goes away because, the NFL gods are seeing this guy disrespected. He's a Hall of Famer, number one.
Yeah. Right.
Two, he's responsible for 3 Super Bowls. He basically, and I'm working on some interviews with some Cowboys right up into that era where the Jimmy Johnson era kind of started. So if I really would like to get that to ask those kind of questions because it really makes no sense. Not Jimmy. What am I going to say?
And not for nothing, but the guy had the best hair in the business.
Oh, first of all, my man, hey, no disrespect to you. That was Jimmy Johnson's team. Deion Sanders, fine. Last I checked, that was all Jimmy Johnson's team, except for Deion and a very young Larry Allen. The Cowboys went to shit with their draft and with everything else when Jimmy Johnson left. That's just the facts. That's the facts. People may not like to hear it, but that's the facts. Jimmy Johnson built that team. I watched it. I lived it. I saw the 3 and 13 years that went up to it. And Jimmy Johnson, and I wasn't happy that they let Tom Landry go. As a young kid, I was upset about it. But he totally turned that franchise around. Look at the trades that he did. People forget about Steve Walsh's trade. Look what he gets Steve Walsh in the supplemental draft, and then trading him for some first-round draft picks to the Saints. I mean, pretty smart. No one was a better draft person than Jimmy Johnson at any. Bill Parcells maybe be close.
I'll tell you, Ultra Cowboy is hating on Jimmy Johnson. You're talking about it's personal, not business. You got to be like Tom Hagen with Sonny Corleone, right?
Yeah,
Sonny, it's not personal. Your father wouldn't say this. It's business.
What players left? The backups left. Yeah, the backups left. What players left? Oh my God, man. So anyway, I get it. I love Jerry. It's not a knock on Jerry. Nobody, and we had him on the show. Jerry
on the show.
We're going to be truthful, and I love Jerry's the best owner in sports, hands down. Not even a close second. Steinbrenner would have challenged him in his heyday. That's it.
Steinbrenner was the best.
That's pretty much in all sports. It would be. To me, Jerry Jones and George Hart. The problem is with Jerry Jones, he's not a very good GM, and he takes things too personal. And when you're the owner of the team, you've got to separate that. He made bad decisions with contracts. He made bad decisions with free agent signings. He made terrible decisions with coaches. I mean, look at the bunch of coaches that ran through Dallas. It's embarrassing that you're talking about being a franchise. The elite franchise, and you're rolling out Dave Campo. You know what I'm saying?
Forgot about that.
Jason Garrett, 10 plus years. The other, what? Oh, I forgot the other guy, the guy from Pittsburgh. I don't know why he's escaping me. The coordinator who came down here. They actually did win a division with him. But it's just my mind's going everywhere because I get so flustered when I talk about the bad days of the Cowboys. I mean, and you got Clint Sterner as your quarterback. You're rolling out Ryan Leaf and you're throwing out Quincy Carter. I mean, you're talking about the Cowboys, man. You're talking about the Cowboys.
And you're just about you got PTSD tonight over this, man. What the hell's going on? You need to relax a little bit.
Oh God.
2022 and
Logan was washed up, my friend. But anyway. But it's fine. You get me. I love talking about. People say, "Why are you talking about the past of the Cowboys?" Because it was so damn good, man. I can't help it. Anyway, we'll get out of here. Jimmy, anything else you want to hit on before we dip out?
No. And again, I apologize for the technical issue. We'll get the phones working again next week. Hey, Jerry Jones called in, so that was
I made sure he got through. Yeah. But I was, when I do it, I've got to switch and I've got to turn. So I'm going to get a board op because we need to have someone filter the calls and then I can pop them through. I think I accidentally hung up on a few people by mistake because it's just I've got these on, so I can't really hear the phone and I don't want it to run through. So this was our first crack on it. It's a learning experience. The thing about me is and McCarthy and these other guys better take note. You'll see it next week. I make a mistake. If something's not on point, you better believe the next week it's going to get fixed. So those penalties I'm expecting to see get fixed come when we play LA.
So like we've said, we are your lead into Monday Night Football. You tune in every Monday, 7:00 Eastern. We'll have the phone issues fixed next week. We love the comments. Keep them up. And we're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
And we dare you to call us.
Don't forget, 1,000 subscriber. As soon as we hit the 1,000, we're going to be doing a giveaway from Micah Parsons. We're going to be getting that 11x14. I need it in the cave before the season. So you guys got 3 weeks to make that happen. We're about 100 subscribers away. Make it happen so we can do a live show, and we're going to do a live giveaway. If you're listening to the show when we do the giveaway, that's the odds. If it's 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 5, get that. I'm just proud you got something on there. You guys win a big playoff, a preseason game, and now you guys.
Yeah, you see? You got a Freudian slip. I love it. Yes.
All right, man. Jimmy D, we'll see you next week. We'll be back. I'll leave you with this. You guys have a great week. Maybe we'll jump in. Maybe it may surprise you. Maybe sometime during the week. But you guys take care. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you.
And Dak Prescott, being the gentleman that he was, picked him up off that 50-yard line and said, "Why did you just